The Bring a Trailer Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bring a Trailer Podcast. My name is Alex Porter, coming to you from the Bring a Trailer headquarters in San Francisco, joined once again by Randy Nonnenberg. Hey, Randy.
Hey, what's going on?
And in the studio again, one of our favorites, Beck. How are you, bud?
I'm doing well, Alex. Thank you.
So today we're going to talk about some results on the site, some cars that are interesting to us, and we're going to go through some questions of the week, which are always fun and the community loves, and we'll answer some of those ourselves and maybe highlight some of the community responses as well. But before we do that, any car updates? Beck, you've done some stuff, right? Do you have 9/11 related news or nothing? Nothing exciting?
Nothing 9/11 related. It's been sitting on the lift in the office above Randy's Golf for a while. But the Mercedes Wagon did a 2,000-mile road trip.
Oh, great.
We drove all the way up to Lassen Volcanic and then did a big loop up there. And then came back and did admirably. My first time in like 10 years driving at altitude on a naturally aspirated car, which was not so reassuring. It's definitely,
What's the car? Tell people what the car is.
E350 Wagon, 2014. So an S
New to you.
212, new to me. Certainly not new. Had 100,000 miles on it, but it was fantastic. Was on the site, but I didn't obviously buy it on the site. Whoever bought it ended up traded it into a dealer. It ended up over here in the Bay Area.
I didn't know that piece of its history.
I didn't know that.
It had been
either.
sold by a 1600 Veloce, actually.
Really?
Yes, it still has like the remnants of the sticker.
Anthony's figures are on everything.
Yeah.
I was looking at a GLI Jetta. That's what I think I want to talk about. You're like, you see who bought that?
Yeah.
So I had
every car will eventually go through, like every car will eventually go through VAT. Every car will eventually go through New York, North Salem, New York.
Totally. Yeah. It was a local enthusiast dealership in, I want to say San Bruno. And when I walked in the door, someone who was helping me asked the owner of the place there, are there any issues with the car? Because I had sort of asked them, is there anything that you want to tell me about? And the guy said, no. It was on Bring a Trailer. 1600 Veloce sold it. So it's...
They said that?
They said that.
Unsolicited?
Unsolicited.
Wow.
It needs to go on the
But
Carfax.
is it a lifer 100K miles in New York State car?
I believe so, yes. So
That's sort of terrifying for a guy in California, Beck.
yeah, I just had the rear crash bar taken out because I had a hitch put in that has a crash bar as part of it. And the guy who installed it asked me if I wanted to have it. I looked down. I'm like, I don't want that piece of rust.
I don't know what a crash bar is.
It's
Is
just
that
a metal bar
something a
that goes underneath
modern car has? Wow.
Underneath the plastic.
Pulled out the crash bar.
It's the only way you can get a hitch
Okay.
in that car, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Was it everything you'd hoped? You'd wanted one of those cars for a long time.
I've been doing a lot of researching. I really just wanted a third row. That's all I've been wanting this entire time.
But now you also want turbos or a super.
Now I
Is that
just
the last
need a lot more
car?
power.
Is that the last car to have a third row like that?
Like
a
rear
rear-facing,
facing.
right?
No, technically the
2014?
the Model S technically
dude,
had it.
don't bring
I'm just saying. You asked.
I
so
did
I told
ask. I did ask. I walked into that one, stepped into that one. But let's say a Benz.
This is where I need the producer. Wah wah. I need the
Is this the last Benz
No.
2014 with a rear-facing seat?
13s had them, but the interior gets sort of modernized. It doesn't look the same. But what I really wanted was rear-facing bench. I would have loved an AMG, but they stopped doing both of those in the 12s because apparently the spare wheel was too large underneath the rear seats. So my thought is I'm going to have this until kids can't the rear bench anymore, and then I'll swap it for an AMG WAG.
AMG WAG. Beck.
There we go.
Express.
There we
the
go.
SF Express. Love that.
But now, does this change your tune on whether you want an NA motor? Or you think the 6.2's got enough grunt that it wouldn't matter at altitude?
I haven't driven it, but I would imagine so. I would hope so for sure. But that was the thing, was that when we have a base Golf, but it's a turbo 1.7 or 1.8 or whatever it is.
Oh, that'll smoke the Benz wagon.
But I mean, at altitude,
That'll smoke
yeah,
it.
it's true.
Yes.
It was surprising how different it was. I had not really experienced that. So.
You're an aviation guy, density
Yes, for
altitude.
sure.
That's the killer, right?
Yeah.
Did you have aerodynamic problems? Did you have a roof box on
I
it?
had a roof box on it.
Oh, dude, you're stacking it up
Roof
against
backs.
you.
Animals, kids.
That
all the gear.
little wheezy Benz motor is like, come on, man, give me a break.
I was at 8,000
7,000
feet.
8,000 feet in a roof box. Ooh.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Did that, and now going through the experience of prepping a car for sale. So that's trying to wager
A car or
car.
which car? I know. Hold on. Was that a secret? We're keeping that a secret?
It doesn't be a secret.
Announce
E40
it now.
Is that going to BAT or is that going to Veloce?
Yeah.
He might be a bidder. California car. He loves a white California German car.
It is a white California, all California German car. Going to be no reserve on the site.
That maybe.
Hopefully,
That's what I
Tell
like
people
to hear.
what it is. Drum up some enthusiasm now.
It's a 2004 BMW E46 ZHP 6-speed with the Alcantara interior, which I know sounds like a really sort of annoying detail to bring up, but I find it kind of odd that there's a 4-door car that was made back then that had an Alcantara interior.
Yes.
No, that was cool. That was a cool car when that came out.
That's
I really
a cool
liked-
car now.
Yeah.
So
I was in BMW when that car came out, and all of us were like trying to get our hands on them and drive them and see what they were like.
So I'm burning up all the profit I might even not make on prepping the car for sale. So I got
Cleaning backs of wheels. Somebody was talking about removing wheels to clean the inside of the wheel. That's
the way I did that was I just had all the wheels refinished.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
That
That's
naturally got them cleaned. And then some paint work on the front bumper. Just got the text today that I went to Randy's interior guy and got the headliner done. So next up is I got to put the Alcantara steering wheel back on because the first thing
You
I did
pulled it.
I pulled it off because it was deteriorating. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I sent it off to get recovered.
Oh my gosh. This
so-
is the buy of the
Uh-huh.
month.
This is going. I'm spending all the money, so you don't have to. So that wheel will go back on, and then I got some other interior trim pieces I got to replace because my kids broke them just getting in and out of the car. You told me when I bought my E46, I was like so worried about buying something that was too nice, and you said just do it and just destroy it.
Yeah,
So
that's
all
right.
those plastic bits are getting to get replaced. Then I got to get it detailed, photographed. I've decided to not photograph it myself.
Whoa, Beck. That's a big step.
I purposefully just realized that I just don't have the time for it. And I kind of want to experience the aspect of hiring someone, which I've never done before.
100%.
So having someone else, I haven't decided who it's going to be yet. I've got a few great options here in the Bay Area. But
Do you want to be the pro photographer that shoots Beck's car and Beck gets to judge your
He's like
photos?
standing behind them. He's like,
Totally.
I wouldn't do that.
You've shot how many cars and you know the whole Rolodex of photographers. You are a very kind individual, but still, if I was taking pictures and then Beck was going to look at them, I'd be terrified.
Literally today, I was thinking about how I needed to print out the shot list so that I could stand like over their shoulder and check it off as.
Oh my God.
Brutal.
I love it.
So
It'll look good though. Car will look good.
Car will look good. I'm excited for that. So
That's awesome. Are you shooting for October sometime? Is that your plan?
yeah, I was probably early October. Might be my goal.
Killer.
How many miles on that car?
120.
Okay. What do we call that? Mid mileage these days on an E46?
On the E46, it could be.
It's kind of middle mileage.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
right.
cool.
Mid mileage. That's
It's a clean car though. Cool.
Yeah. Be great.
It's the right amount of mileage so that everything's had to have been done.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right. That's what you want to get it. That's
That's the
when you
good
want to get
news,
it
yeah.
before it all needs to be done again.
Mhm.
Randy, any car news for you? Who's NK? Is that Huff's NK downstairs?
We've
What's
got
the
an NK on
Yeah.
display in the office.
It's got nice looking stance and nice wheels. It's got a Huff look to it.
Yeah, that's the red stripe car. That car ran the Monterey Historics back when it was called that, back in the 90s, I believe. He has a picture of that car in the corkscrew.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It has no roll bar
Yeah,
now. It's
no
sort of
cage.
street spec. Now you just go run it at Monterey. It's so great. Drive it in off the paddock. No, just sort of a little hot rod NK amongst our podcast guest and neighbor Jim Huff's NK collection. I don't have as cool of stuff to talk about as Beck. Not too many crazy car stories lately. Just sort of driving around in my old stuff and keeping it running and keeping the tires around if I can. Got to get the Chrysler back on the road.
Hell
Yeah,
yes.
that's been sitting for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. There's
The
always, always something sitting that's like nagging.
Yeah,
you know? There's a few of them that are running. I'd love to celebrate that, but
That's good.
there's always one or two that are sort of a thorn.
I was driving the 912 around a lot back, as you may have seen, and it's finally leaking now. Randy was like, how do you have a Porsche, air-cooled Porsche that doesn't leak? And I was so proud of it, and now it's leaking quite badly in my garage. I just noticed it the other day, and I think it's the gearbox, not the motor, but still, I got to figure that out. I was like, God, this car's so reliable. I could just use this all the time, and it's already, there's a problem.
No.
Yeah.
That's normal. It's a feature. It's not a
It
problem
is.
on
It
a
is.
on
Just keep
a-
filling
on a
it back up.
four-cylinder Porsche engine.
When I was driving it quite a bit, I don't know if I told you this back, I was losing the brakes, and I was like,
Oh.
I wonder if this thing's like the pedal was just going softer and softer and down to the floor. I was like, I wonder if there's no brake fluid in this thing. So I pulled over, the reservoir was totally empty.
Nice.
Did a little at the Chevron station, bought a bottle of brake fluid, filled it up, pumped it up, came back to life.
Just
I haven't done
keep driving.
I haven't done anything
$15
Who
since.
knows what the bubbles in the lines are like? Doesn't matter. Brakes work. You're
Brakes work
just
fine.
driving it around.
Correct.
That's a nice
With
fix.
my children.
What a fix. Nice fix.
It was
Yeah.
a hot fix.
Per the instruction manual.
Have you ever lost brakes before?
Oh gosh. Yes. There's some stories about that. Anyway, I've driven old cars for a long time as just my regular car all through school age, high school, college, after. What's the gnarliest? I mean, knock on wood, I'm driving home today. I hope the brakes are going to be fine. But yeah, the gnarliest, I was driving to high school in a 66 Mustang Fastback. Awesome car, man. I love that car. Red, wannabe Shelby clone. And there's a line at a four-way stop right outside the high school, and there's probably 3 cars in each direction. It's like 10 minutes before school starts, right? There's kind of a queue, and I'm coming up this deal up to the line in front of me, and I hit the brakes, and there was nothing. And I was like, oh, okay. So you dodge the people in front of you and make a run the stop sign right-hand turn. I mean, obviously that could be
bleed
a
off some
terrible
speed.
Yeah, you what do? You downshift and you get it into first however you must. And I remember that very distinctly because I went right around that corner and was hoping there was going to be no bicyclists or whatever. And I parked it right there, and then I pumped it, and I got some pressure back enough to pull it in the parking lot and go to class. But coming in at 45 in a 35 zone, there was nothing. Like, Anyway, so that experience I remember. I also had a 75 Cruiser before that. 75 was the last year of all 4-wheel drum brakes on a Cruiser. They got disc brakes in the front in 76, which I never had in that truck. And it had a 327 Corvette engine in it. So it would go, but it wouldn't stop. And I thought it was normal that all Cruisers needed 2 pumps on the brakes to stop you. Like that's how you brake that truck. You'd
hit once
twice
on initial and then go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
but so it was always a double. But that's just what you needed to do. And I don't know if my dad's gonna be thrilled that I share this story. But I came ripping into the driveway. We had an L-shaped driveway and a 2-car garage back when old houses had garages that slid. Only one could be open at a time because the big heavy wood doors went left, right. So I was the impetus for getting a new garage door that went up. Because I came ripping in like a little too hot into our own driveway, which is not long. It's 30 feet long. I mean, it's 2 cars long, and pulled in like I was going to park in front of the driveway, but I didn't double pump fast enough, and I hit the garage door, which there's not a lot of excuses. Like I was just like, it jumped out in front of me. Like I hit the house. I ran the truck into the house, and I didn't totally like waste it, but I got like a pump and a half, and I needed 2. And so the front bumper on an FJ40 is like a battering ram, right? And it kind of knocked the garage off its track and whatever else, and kind of cracked the wood door. And I was like, so I got to explain that one to my dad. So have I ever lost brakes? Yeah. Anyway, I got a couple stories. Thankfully, no humans were in front of the vehicles, and I kind of did damage control the best that I could and didn't cause anything too badly, but we got a new garage door out of it.
Great. It's a win for the family. How about you, Beck? Have you lost brakes?
I have. In my 2002 TII.
Ooh.
I was shepherding my now wife, then girlfriend, and her cousin and her fiance on a tour of
4
San Francisco
people in the TII.
In the 2002. All 4 of us in the TII.
This is the worst time. Dude, I never had an audience in the moment. I had to explain it to some people, but I never had like a person in the car. Wow.
It was fully loaded. And I had a little route that I would do whenever I was showing off the city to people. And we were in Pack Heights. Which, if you don't know Pacific Heights, you could tell by the name of it. It's a big giant hill, and looking over the marina. And I was at the top of, I was like on Broadway, like passing Octavia.
This is like where they filmed Bullet.
Oh my God, this is. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I'm going sort of laterally along the hillside, like not up or down. And I'm about to turn right to like go down the hill. Yeah. And as I'm approaching the stop sign, I press the brake pedal and it becomes ever so slightly soft. I'm like, that's just not how it was the last time. That doesn't feel right. And I looked down the hill. And I thought, probably would be fine.
Dude.
I thought, I'll give it one more street.
Yeah.
So I went straight one more block, and like the percentage drop in pressure dropped like noticeably in brake pedal. It went like halfway down without anything happening. And so then I realized, no more. All done.
Don't take a right.
Don't take a right.
Bottom hinge pedals.
Bottom hinge pedals, yes.
And it was kind of mush.
And it was mushing at the top. Like I still had pressure, but it was like
dude.
Not feeling comfortable. Discs in the front, drums in the rear. So it's a pretty decent bite.
So reservoir is empty, and you blew out some seals, and there's nothing in it.
Yeah. So it's basically, I think what happened was later the O-ring on the master cylinder basically had failed, and fluid was just leaking to the backside.
Okay.
And so I went another block, and it's starting to get to the point where like the pedals after 2-3 blocks, pedals on the floor completely, doing
Nice.
nothing for me.
Nice. And you're at the top of a hill still,
top of the hill.
sort of.
So I very strategically, like knowing like the topography from there to the Richmond district, just drove the entire way home with just the handbrake
Oh, wow.
and just made it
Wow.
all the
Did
way
you-
through down
Did
California.
you tell this to anyone in the car, or you were silent? Did
I
you
think
stealth that whole thing?
I told them that something wasn't working very well, and we should just go home.
And people
Something
love-
that remains
and
nameless.
And as I know from my youthful experiences, people love riding in an old car. They feel really safe to begin with.
Some do, some don't.
No,
very
I'm
much.
joking.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
joking.
yeah.
People don't
Some are
like
like,
it.
why
Right.
are we in this?
Correct.
I think
crazy thing?
they liked the first initial experience of getting in the car. It's exciting. And then after a few blocks and the smell of the gasoline, they were like, "This is sort of done."
Backseat of an O2. I don't know if you've driven
That's
around
tough.
the backseat of an O2,
Right.
but you're kind of camping out in there. Huh.
So we got back all the way to my dad's house, parked there, got into my then girlfriend's 2003 Toyota Corolla, and continued the rest of the tour.
Yep. With fully
Amazing.
functioning brakes.
Fully functioning brakes. Yes.
Wow. That one, that's
Very
like
close.
that's like a near incident
near something.
scenario. If you had
Yeah.
turned right,
Would have been bad.
I mean, you're in first gear, you press it going down Pack Heights and like nothing happened. I can't even imagine, dude. I mean, that is like the bullet chase scene where he
Yes.
goes around the corner and the hubcaps fly off the car. You know what I mean?
Unintentional.
And all of those streets are so sketchy because it's four-way stops. So if you
Sure.
blow one of the intersections, like
Things
it's
happen
like
and
T-Bone
pedestrians.
City.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Man. Dude, I'm
right
very-
down onto
I'm
right,
very glad that ended up so well.
right down onto Lombard, 6 lanes of traffic.
Yep.
Like,
You didn't have a garage door to slow you down
No, I
the
did
rest
not.
of the way like I did.
God, this is good cautionary tale. I felt the brake pedal getting soft on the 912, and I just kind of kept driving it. So I was 42 years old when I was doing
When you
that.
said that, I was thinking, man, have you ever just not happened?
Yeah, no, I've lost brakes tons of times, but like Randy, usually I used to work on crappy old Volkswagen, so like there were lots of cars where it was just
Just
normal.
fake
I've
it.
also
Yeah.
clutches too. Like I was lots
Yeah.
of clutches
Well, and
that
are
I've
you
had
in
to pump
flat
to get to work.
territory too? Because that's a
It
huge
wasn't
difference.
slow,
Yeah.
so it was like pretty flat. Yeah,
Mhm.
certainly nothing like 4 people in an. I would be scared about stopping an O2 on those hills with fully functional
With good
brakes
brakes
with
and
4 people.
4 people.
Right?
Totally. I'd have my hand on the e-brake for sure.
Totally.
No, you're right.
Totally.
I loved going like from a standing start on a hill going up, just demonstrating dominance of just how good I could get going. I love that. I
On
love
a
it so
very
much.
early date with my wife, I was in my S2000 and I was racing back then. I was so cocky, and we were going the opposite direction of you, up Divisadero, up towards the top of Pack Heights from
Mhm.
down in the marina.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, God, none of these people would be able to do this in a stick. And I'm hill starting without using the e-brake or anything,
Sure.
right, in traffic. And then, of course, next intersection, I stall it. First time I've probably had ever stalled the car, right? That's what hubris gets you.
With an audience.
With my then girlfriend, now
Perfect.
wife, in the
Perfect.
passenger seat, after talking.
Yeah. Yep.
Was it started with watch this?
Totally. And that car has the push starter, so it's kind of a whole ordeal. Anyway, speaking of comfort and no brakes, Randy, I've been considering and pondering back. I want to apologize to you ahead of time for hot rod talk. I've been considering what level of hot rod you need to do a lot of driving. You and I were just talking about Route 66. How much brakes does one need to do 2,000 miles in a hot rod? I don't care about the no
2,000
AC,
miles?
but like a long drive.
I've got a lot of cars that won't do 2,000 miles.
I know.
Man, there's a lot of hot rods that are out there that you see for sale that are like 11.5, that are like
know.
8,800, and they're really pretty ratty, but they run it and drive in air quotes. So, I mean, it kind of depends on your level of wanting to repair it on the fly, how wonderful you want it to be. Do you want it to be a 32 Ford, or do you want it to be a 29 Olds? You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like you can scrape your way into some interesting stuff.
Hydraulic brakes, I think, are a minimum. I don't think I would want to do 2,000 miles with, with cables.
Yeah, that's probably true. Unless you want to Stutz Bearcat. What kind of brakes did that have?
Stutz was so good. Did you see
Yeah.
that back?
That was my car.
Oh,
There
that
you
was
go.
White Glove. Okay.
So anyway.
Here's one of the reasons. This is not a hot rod, but did you see
Ooh.
this car?
Oh, 39 Coupe. We've been
39
talking about
Deluxe.
39 Ford Coupes.
It's got spats. It's got faux patina paint, which I don't love,
Mm.
but it's only at $8,000 right now. It's no
Mhm.
reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Rebuilt 221.
Overdrive or
flatty.
no? Just a 3-speed?
No, but I think I'd put a Columbia rear end in it. I think a
Mhm.
Columbia rear, this has hydraulic brakes,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you could drive this far.
You could. I like those cars.
I do too.
I'm
You and
not-
I have been
I'm not
talking
into
about
the rear.
39s. No, spats.
Did you call them spats?
Yeah, spats.
So that's like a Jag term. That's what I call it on
Sure.
XK120. Do you call it that on an American car? Are
I
they
thought that was a
spats?
generic term.
I thought it was generic.
Is that a
too. Some-
U.S. term, or would British
Mm,
people
could be a
call it
UK term.
spats?
What do you call it? Fairing or just a wheel fairing?
No, I call it spats on a Jag. I don't know what I would even call it on a Ford. What would you call it? Spats.
Well,
Well,
that's
then
what I
this
always
question
say.
of if
I
they're
think that's
removable
probably
or
right.
not.
Oh, I'm sure they're removable.
Yeah, oh, they definitely are. Let's see what we call them.
What did we call them in the listing?
Skirts. Wheel skirts
is the right name.
That's right.
That's what those are called. That's
on
right.
like a lead sled or something.
On
That's
an
right.
American car. That's the
That's
American term. Spats is the Brit term.
Is British
so that's I think that car's super cool. I mean, we were talking about 40 coupes.
Yep. 39 is remarkably
where's
the same.
the
But you know,
problem?
I love that big swan neck shifter instead of it on the tree. It's got that big long floor shifter, which
All
I
of
love.
All of it is great.
Favorite?
Yeah.
Favorite page of the Haynes manual was always the American English to UK English
Ooh.
conversion.
Is that uniform in all of them, or is that specific to the type of vehicle?
Good
You
question.
mean
I
like
had
boot to trunk? That's what you're talking about.
Correct. Yeah,
bonnet to
yeah,
bonnet to
bonnet.
hood.
yeah,
Sure.
okay.
hood to roof,
Sure.
that sort of thing. And one
Perspex.
I would imagine, yeah. exactly.
Wings instead
Wings
of
instead
of
fenders.
fenders,
Yeah.
that's right.
uh-huh.
That would be one of them, right?
Yep.
Spats to skirts.
What are some other ones? Do you have it pulled up? Ooh,
don't.
Randy.
I'm
That's a
showing him,
tasty customer.
a 50 Ford Custom Deluxe Club Coupe with a modern V8 in it, but a gold paint job. That looks pretty strong.
I'm not
and then
opposed
we
to
just
that at all.
launched a 50 Merc convertible that I'm digging into.
Is that the one with the
comments
has a
on.
big motor on it?
No, but they're claiming it was in the Grease movie in 78. But the one in the
Really?
Grease movie in
Okay,
78 was in the
so-
race and it was flamed.
It had flames on it. So it's a same make and model. I don't know if it's the flames were
Is it
removed.
that
we don't
car?
claim it's that
We
car.
don't claim it's that car because it may not be that car,
May not
but it
be.
was just in the movie. But I'm trying to figure out which car. Anyway, I started diving into.
Oh, look, they took it in front of the Pixar. The photos
Yeah.
are in front of Pixar.
Yeah. Anyway, awesome car, regardless
That's
of
a
what it
great-
was in or where
great
it was
car.
in. But yeah, the movie claim is interesting on that one. I think that's worth digging into. Anyway, these types of cars, there's stuff out there, man. 15 to 27 grand with flatheads in them and good looking, and you could go drive it 2,000 miles, no problem. You may need to be patient. No overdrive or a banjo rear or whatever. Just go drive it around.
If it'll do 70, I'm fine. The Cord will do 70. So I
drove an FJ60 recently that topped out at 63 miles an hour. So I hadn't driven a slow freeway car in a while. I'm trying to think of
Didn't you say the Cortina's
some of
pretty
mine.
buzzy on
The Cortina buzzes, but you can rip that up to 80 if you need
Yeah,
to.
okay.
And then you feel, I mean, you wouldn't do it for 2,000 miles, but you can do it for a while. But I was in a car where, yeah, you couldn't get to 70.
crazy?
And that's just that's like probably a lot of these cars, right? Like you're just like, okay, this is a 55 car. And then feeling what that's like in modern traffic is tricky. You're like noticeably staying right.
Yes.
And you're
Braking early.
well, yeah. I mean, different cars would handle that differently, but just from a power and velocity standpoint, you're like, okay, there's a semi in the slow lane up here. Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like thought cycles
Yeah.
of, okay, all these people are merging, but I'm not fast enough to go in the number 2 lane. So what am I going to do? So anyway, that you think about that stuff, but it's all manageable. I mean, there's most kooks driving around in a modern EV or whatever going 85, and you just got to figure out how to slot in here or there. So anyway, I think it's manageable, dude. I think you should go
I
drive
know.
2,000 miles.
I think it's an excuse to get off the interstate, one. And
Oh,
two, there's
that
like
too.
the thing that's appealing to me a lot right now, this is after Auburn and driving the Cord. It's just that, to your point, Randy, there's a mentality you sink into when you drive a car like that. I could use some relaxation in my life, right? Like, shift at 2,000 RPM. You're not in a hurry. Your arm's out the window because there's no air conditioning. In the Cord, when it gets hot, you crank out the front windscreens. All those little things that are kind of dead to a modern, even somebody who drives a car from the 60s and 70s. Like there's you're putting your brain back in a space that people don't have to do very often. I had to do that a little bit in my Carmagia back in the day, which was real slow.
You make a good point of almost the joy of driving a car that is pre-interstate is that it incentivizes you to drive not on the interstate.
Right.
That's an
Where are we
interesting
going,
concept.
though? Where are we going from
66,
here?
dude.
No interstate.
I can't
You're gonna
stop thinking about it.
Go drive to Kotati? Like, where are you going to go?
Like, think about all those rallies you and I have done where it's mainly stays off the interstate. And you could get across there's people who go across
But you
the
got
country
some
on
dream
dirt
of going and
roads.
driving. Like, say you had a rod parked outside with a 2-speed rear end and all that stuff you're talking about. Like, where are you going?
I'd want to get to SoCal first,
Okay.
drive around SoCal, but I'd want to go you can drive down the 33, right? Which is parallel to the 5, but
33
it's
is cool.
2-lane
Yeah,
and
yeah,
through
yeah.
the oil wells and stuff,
Yep.
right?
You want to see pinnacles?
Hanford, all that stuff. Like my dad was a deputy TA in Hanford in
Mhm.
Kings County in the 70s, right? Yeah, so do that kind of stuff. And I was watching David Freiberger and he went and drove on the old road. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the highway that would have taken you from the San Fernando Valley to El Mirage back in the day. And a lot of the old gas stations and restaurants are still there. Some of them are open, some of them aren't, but these old stone buildings from the 20s with like Esso signs out in front. And like,
let's go get one of those.
I know, but like, let's do that drive. And you can do that all the way to probably to Arizona is what I want to do. Go to Kingman and all those places, right? Route 66.
Okay, this is great.
I know.
Okay, I like all of this.
39 Ford would be good.
We need some old cars to go do it.
Totally.
Okay, cool.
Totally. That has no appeal to you, right, Beck? That's too old for you.
I'm sure there'd be enjoyable elements for it.
What's the oldest car you've driven?
Oh gosh. 64 356.
There you go.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. What's your answer on that?
Cord. Cord's the oldest, 36. It's the oldest I've driven.
That's like 2 generations before me. That's crazy.
I've only driven a few 50s cars. I mean, I drove Randy's car a little bit, but that car feels a lot more. That car is like pretty drivable.
What's that?
The Chrysler,
56
the 300.
Chrysler. Yeah. My dad had a 31 lowboy Roadster. So
that's your oldest?
I think that's the oldest I've ever ridden.
I would love to try to drive a T, right? Like something with non-conventional controls.
That'd be fun for sure.
I think that would be interesting. I want to talk about site results, but I also want to hit you guys with questions of the week. Where should we go? Let's hit a few site results because there's been really good ones.
Yeah, hit like the top 3 crazy ones.
904 we talked about last time, and I got to say it. 2.375 on that car. Loved that car.
Million US dollars just for the audience.
Million
so
US.
They know what 2.375 means.
Yes,
it's that.
Crazy amount.
Beat out the 910 by a factor of 2.
Yes, that's right.
Amazing.
My desire for a 904 is 10x a 910.
Same for me. 100%. 100%. It's maybe my favorite Porsche. I just love them so much.
I have no chance of fitting in one. So
you're done.
While I do love them.
Those 910s, some of them you can pop the roof off of, right?
There's some open top ones.
Magnum PI stuff.
Yeah, that's tough. You don't look cool when your head's sticking out of the top.
I think
of the car.
you do, but it's crazy dangerous, though, right?
You probably would fit in the Carrera GT that was part of that same collection from Sirio and Road Scholars. That car did almost 2 million. That was great. And then the other one, I think we talked about this last time, Randy, but that Tatra in Europe.
Incredible.
Did it sell?
Yeah, 302,000 euros.
Is that right?
Yes.
Big Germany sale.
Yeah.
Our biggest. No. We had the crazy BMW 507.
That's correct. That's correct.
Most expensive Tatra I've ever even heard of.
Yes.
Probably, right?
Beautiful car.
Wow.
Strong lead photo choice going with the rear look, which is, there's only a few cars out there where the rear sells.
Rear 3/4 is best angle.
Right.
That's
exactly.
interesting.
There's very few.
Incredible on that. Any other highlights, Beck, that you want to hit? Anything from White Glove?
White Glove's been kind of on a tear.
Well, speaking of hot rods, you had maybe my favorite hot rod we've ever had, which was a great White Glove result.
Roland was
Tell people what White Glove is for people who don't know.
Sure. White Glove is a level of service where we will handle as much as possible that we can do internally here. So we're going to be sending you out a photographer. We're going to do some enhanced marketing, and an individual will have phone availability and hold your hand throughout the entire process, but you retain the car. There's no commission. It's just a flat listing fee, just like everything else on BAT. So we had a hot rod that Roland listed for a customer. It was a Model A Wade Coupe was its name. That Alex almost quit his job so that he could.
This is the white super chopped hot rod that we put on the site. Yeah,
32 rails, 5-window Model A body. What's that?
Hemi stroker, yes.
Hemi.
Yeah, 392 stroke to 460 cubic inches with 8 Strombergs, rock crusher.
That was what? That was $100,000 car?
$100,000.
Yep. Sold 98.5.
Kind of a bargain, I think.
Other than that, I mean, we had
kind of a bargain.
I mean, that build is incredible.
I love that.
We've had some great sort of late model heavy hitters, LFA, GT3 RS for a 992, Dakar that sold as well, but probably the ones that was most exciting, we had a string of 300 SLs.
That's right.
2 Gull Wings and a Roadster, and we did 2 out of 3 of those sold. So that was a great little run there that, for whatever reason, I mean, 300 SLs, of all the 50s cars, that's the one that is sustaining really, really well. So glad that they came through White Glove. They saved a ton of dough by not going through a broker. So that was nice.
And for those listeners who don't know, Beck is in charge of our White Glove department too. That's why we're asking him.
He knows how to describe it. He knows the cars.
Great stuff, man. It's been a big year for you guys.
It's been good. It's interesting. Our sale rate is insane now. We're going to be at 95%.
Is that right? 95% of them sell.
80%.
That's well above average.
95 for this past month, 91 for last month.
Why is that?
I didn't think we were being too hard on reserves, but I don't know. I'm thinking that we've got a little base level of sort of standard of presentation that makes sure that the cars were our biggest goal is that honestly that you as a seller don't have to do a lot of work while your car is live, because we get it that your alternative is to hand it over with the keys to someone else. And so we want to make sure that the presentation is as thorough as possible. And then additionally, I think the big one is going to be advising the sellers while their auction is live. I think so much of the stress just comes from how do I respond to these questions? And if you're just new to social media in general, which a lot of our customers are, having someone in-house who's done this thousands of times who can say, oh, let's say it this way, or let's not say that, could just help protect you, I think, a lot of the time. So it's been interesting. A lot of the numbers are up, but the main one that's really surprising is sell-through rate.
Well done, dude. Couldn't agree more on what a good job you guys do coaching folks through.
Thank you.
That's a honest to God plug for White Glove Service. One thing I want to hit before we dive into questions of the week is, I don't know if you guys saw this. We had a little post go up this morning because 3 of our top sellers just crested the 2,000 listing mark.
Did we high five them?
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so Anthony Serra, 600 Veloce, I should say, because it's a whole team. Shout out to Diane and everybody else. And then also 911R, Matt Crandall, Josh, Amy, and then also Rob Dietz, Wob. 2 of them have crested 2,000 and Rob's just about to hit it. So we put up a little post. We asked them a bunch of questions. There's some cool stuff in there. And we really like all 3 of those sellers. And they've been around BAT for a long time. They've been early champions of the site. So another 3 people who really know how to do it well, who are eating white gloves for lunch, right?
2,000.
I love this emblem, though.
Isn't that cool?
Who made this? Did Connor make this? Fantastic. Good job, Connor.
Yep.
That is cool.
Yeah. Anyway, a couple of people put some hard work into that. Shout out to Ben, our colleague Ben, too, who asked all the questions and worked on that. But cool piece. Folks should check it out. All 3 of those folks know how to do it almost as well as Beck. All right. You guys ready for me to hit you with a few questions of the week? I've got some good ones for you. These are actually apropos of a lot of the topics that we've been discussing here. So let me start with this one, Randy. We're talking about hot rods on road trips. Favorite road trip stop? So people are talking about Wall Drug and all these kinds of places. Easy answer for me, the thing that came up to the top of my head was In-N-Out. That's like where I always stop when I can.
Any
In-N-Out. Yeah, totally. Cochrane Road and
those
Morgan
are all
Hill.
over the country now, man.
Yeah.
You have a lot more flexibility. That used to
Idaho,
be,
right?
Oh yeah, they're in Idaho for sure. But I mean, my sisters used to go on this trip to Southern California, and that was the only place you could get it. And they'd come back with like legend and stories about like, we stopped at In-N-Out, and I was like, we're in NorCal, we don't have that. And then in high school we got it, and now it's all over the place. That's a good one. First of all, for some framing, these questions were already asked on the website to the entire community, but we're circling back and hitting with our answers.
That's right. That's right. I wanted to get your guys' perspective on questions of the week. I kind of combed through and found some ones I like. We've done this a couple times in the past, but I like to hit you guys with these things too. Beck,
I don't know, Beck, you gonna jump in there? You jump in, buy me some time. I'm thinking of my favorite road.
You need to
vamp
a little bit.
A great one that I've always enjoyed, and I kind of probably put too much on sort of a pedestal because I was there with my dad, was the Hotel Nevada in Ely, Nevada.
Oh,
it's on Highway 50.
Which I always call Eli, but you corrected me. It's Ely.
Ely, like completely. That's what they say. I've driven cross country well over a dozen times, and did it once or twice with my father. And we stopped. We took the Highway 50, which is the loneliest road in the U.S., as it's called. And the Hotel Nevada, every room is sort of named after a pre-Interstate era entertainer who would have driven through Ely on their way to Vegas. And so they would have stayed there and probably performed there, maybe something like that. And so a lot of them are named after all those people. And then down in the basement is the gambling area where there's slot machines on the lobby floor, but all the tables are downstairs. And when you check in at the Hotel Nevada, this is 15 years ago, so I don't know if it's the case, you'd get 2 tokens. One was for a free margarita, and one was for bet one, get one free. So if you bet $1, they'll match you with an extra $1. So my dad and I would go to the bar. We get our free margarita, which comes out of a slushing machine, into a plastic cup that's about 1/3 the size of what you're thinking I'm describing. And then we walked downstairs and went to the card table, and my dad killed it at blackjack. We're not like card people at all, but he earned enough to like basically pay for our rooms. And then he continued to talk about how proud he was of himself as we drove along.
Way
the
to go,
loneliest
Dad.
road.
Totally.
So
totally.
Yeah, Hotel Nevada.
Man, that's a great one. I mean, part of what excites me about that and this whole thing is we were just talking about Route 66. So like,
Sure, very similar.
stone dinosaurs, old things. Kingman, again, has like these old saloons. Some of them have a hotel with a few rooms above them, right? And some of them are restored. Some of them are pretty crusty still. I love that kind of stuff.
Highway 50 is fantastic. It's got a lot of twisty bits that is what I would think Route 66 looks like. Very similar topography, but a lot of like old gas stations with the signage out front and vintage stuff and all. But I've never done Route 66, so someday though.
So I'm going to say I love like historic markers next to roads. So there's a drive that I've done numerous times, which I love, which is from Salmon, Idaho, directly north into Montana. You can drive into Missoula that way over a big pass. And Idaho and Montana both do like proper sized signage on the side of the road, and it's broadside. You can't see it if you're driving by. You got to stop to read it because it's parallel to the pavement. So you can't like try to read it as you zoom by. You won't be able to read it, and you can't see it like a billboard from miles away. So it forces you to pull off and look at these, and these are at big scenic view areas. This is where Lewis and Clark floated the river, blah, blah, blah. I mean, all this like major Americana history stuff. I love all that sort of stuff. So anytime I get that, California has good ones. They tend to have one on like a stone.
Oh, you're talking about like historical monuments.
Yes.
Oh God. Oh God.
So anyway,
I didn't want to ask.
Those are my roadside, like I'm always the dork that like wants to pull over and be like, what happened here 300 years ago, or like whatever's going on, or what's that mountain called or whatever.
Yes.
So I love any rural route, particularly when it's a little bit like you're not going to that often pull off like Interstate 80 to see one of those. But when you're on a 2-lane mountain road, like it's got something interesting to say.
Yes.
And I love these ones in Idaho in particular, all over Idaho are these huge, it must be like a 4x8 sheet of plywood size, right? And it's just got this like saga of what happened here, right? And it's just super cool. And it'll tell you about the river, it'll tell you about the mountains, or it'll tell you about the tribe that used to be there, or it'll tell you about whatever happened, that accident, like in the avalanche of 1780.
Totally. This is where they all ate each other.
Their version of Donner Party.
Totally. It's total Donner Party North. So anyway, I love that sort of stuff, and count me anywhere. Like in Arizona, I remember driving past those, and I'm keen to give the overheating car a break and pull over at one of those and chill out and pull something out of the cooler and read and check it out.
It also means you're not in a rush, like, which is another nice thing. Like, so I drove across Highway 50 one time, and there were those markers all the way across, and I was by myself. No one else would indulge.
Nobody else.
I stopped at every one.
Yeah.
And what it turns out was it was a stagecoach route. So this was like there was a stage house here, and sometimes there'd be the little foundation. It's like in 1857, everyone died, like whatever, and I loved every single one of them. And you're right. Sometimes it's like that mountain 20 miles away from here had this mine at it. So you're not even close to it, but they want the driver to stop it.
You remember Elkhart Lake? Like all the signs and the turns and the thing in town.
So
and like,
cool.
This saloon is where these guys sat down and, drew up the plans for
and they had
Road
little
America
corner markers. So this was the old turn 9.
All that stuff. Like that's
really
my favorite
cool
stuff on any route. Like tripping across that stuff is really fun.
My dad, when I was a kid, had a book that had every California historical monument marker listed in it. This was from the 80s, and there were thousands of them, right? And some of them are remote, but a lot of them weren't. And we used to carry that because we were in the car a lot, and we'd try to stop at ones that were interesting. Train stuff and, anything that was interesting.
I always loved how a lot of those rural towns also would have the initials for the town in like white stone on a mountain in the background.
That the high school kids put up
for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
like some sort of like town project at some point, and that you can see from far away. And it's like nowhere even near the town because it has to be that far away in order to get
that's also the western version of that, because that'd be on a water tower anywhere east of the
That's right. In the mountains, you scribe it in the stone in Utah and west, right?
It is
but
the
out
natural
east,
version of the water.
It's a water tower.
You don't need a water tower
No,
when
you
you've
don't
got
have
your reservoir higher than your town.
Totally.
But in Indiana, you can't do that.
Totally. That was always something novel about traveling to Texas and stuff, is seeing water towers, right? We never have water towers out here. So seeing that is always fun.
I would actually love, Randy, we were talking about where to drive. I would love to travel more around the Midwest too, because I love the little town with, one little block of Main Street, a water tower, one little diner, one little bar. Those are some of my favorite towns. The American version of the little rolling countryside French town with one chapel in it.
That's out here too, dude. That's out here too. I mean, that's all
do.
over the place. You just got to go look. I mean, there's none of those in the Bay Area, that's for sure. But there's, or LA Basin, but it all used to be that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So you can go hunting for it a little bit.
All right, we talked about brake disasters. So here's another appropriate one. I have a good one for this one. Best oil change disaster story. Have you guys ever had an oil change disaster?
I saw this question on the site and had to think a little bit.
Oil change disaster. So I am a merit badge instructor for automotive maintenance merit badge.
Ooh.
And so I would have my scouts, like the oldest ones who wanted to do it, they could sign up for it. They'd come in my house and we would do basically a full day. So the first half of the day is just instruction. Latter half of the day, we learn how to jack up the car, take off the wheels, and they'd change my oil. And it was a great process. There was definitely we had a father who, he might actually be listening right now. He volunteered his Mini Cooper that he had just bought. And I think as we lifted up, we realized there was a decent amount of rust on the other side that he may not have known about. So that was sort of like a discovery as part of that oil change.
Fun.
But it was always super fun and interesting. And I think the best part was these, city kids who they would always bring up the car that they had driven there and ask, like, can you point out the things that you've been talking about on this car? And it would be like a Camry hybrid. I'm like, I don't know where these things are. So it was always tough. Like, we couldn't always relate it to what was really sort of meaningful to them in their day-to-day, but they just loved learning about the meaningful stuff. So I think doing oil changes on 911s is also kind of always a little bit of a stressor.
Yeah, filling them up. Inside,
and then also
the gauge, and is it hot or is it cold, or how do you measure it? Oh man, I didn't like that.
Shelf.
I did that
When
once.
you take the oil filter off,
Yes.
there's a little shelf,
Correct.
and it's just going to spew down on
I did one of those. I think I'm done.
What a
for
terrible
life.
design.
Another tough one with that is you realize halfway through it's pouring out that your container is nowhere near large enough for
Correct.
the amount of oil it's coming out
Oh
of
yeah,
this
there's
engine.
so much oil. Yeah.
So yeah, that as well.
I don't know if I have a good. Yours is going to be great.
Yeah,
I was going to
no,
say.
mine's not that great.
Mine's. I think overfilling, right? Like losing track and overfilling and being like, oh, now I got to dump all this good oil out.
That's
There's no way to
painful.
get it out. I think that was probably about as bad as it's gotten.
The beautiful amber colored oil that
Totally.
you lose. Okay, so mine's related to that. I was a young mechanic. I was probably 19 or 20. And I'm pretty sure, I was trying to rack my brain about the car. I'm pretty sure it was an E24 635. But it was, if you've ever done an oil change on an M30, that's why I'm pretty sure they're in a canister.
Mhm.
So it's an oil canister that fits inside a big metal can. And
It's a
big,
cartridge.
long
It's a cartridge
It's a
filter.
cartridge filter. And there's a big long bolt that runs through the
Sure.
middle of the whole thing to hold it on. And getting that thing in all the way, it's just a terrible design, right? And I was a young enough mechanic, and I had put it all back together, and I lubed up the ring. You have to replace the ring on the canister. And I poured all the new oil in, and I was starting it still up on the rack to get it running. And I had somehow the canister wasn't seated. And so my boss comes running out of his office. What are you doing? Stop. And I look underneath it, all the brand new amber oil. And if you've ever spilled a fluid, it looks like way more when it's on that. And those cars take 5 or 6 quarts. It was all on that. Luckily, I didn't grenade the motor or anything, but
Alex
Yeah,
Porter.
totally.
He'll never work
because
in this
you start
garage
it up and you
again.
run it for like 30 seconds and then you check it, right? To give it a little bit of heat. That's like, I was going through all the procedures I'd been taught in auto shop, not realizing the car was pumping all the oil out onto the floor underneath. Because I don't know, you don't instinctively look at that. And nowadays it's more complicated because there's things underneath the car. You always
Sure.
have to take off
All
a
the panels.
tray before you can get to the thing. But anyway, pretty horrifying.
That's
I can still
memorable.
remember. I can still see it all in my head.
How'd you sop all that up? Was that like 80
Paper
rolls
towels,
of brawny,
yeah,
or was
exactly.
that
We
like
didn't- you know,
kitty
just
litter?
awful.
We didn't
was that
use
kitty
kitty litter? So yeah, I probably used
What'd you
paper
do?
towels. And
Oh,
the main thing we used were
man.
those blue shop rags.
Oh,
Mission Linen would
man.
bring in a new, 100,000 of them every week. So probably sopping up with those
Throwing 'em.
forever.
That's so great.
And then you feel so bad, because it was $30 of oil, but that was a lot when I was a 19-year-old. You got to put another $30 worth of oil in, do it all again. Anyway, I never made that mistake again.
Little Castrol GTX on
It's
the floor.
100% what it was. 2050 Castrol GTX.
2050.
We had the big, huge distribution machine that would pump it
Totally.
in. Yeah.
Totally.
Oh, yeah. Put that in a lot of
Stuff was
3.2
cheap
911s,
back
man.
then. That stuff's not cheap
Yeah.
anymore. That was cheap back then.
All right. Let me hit you guys with one more because there was a good one that I was saving. It's the most recent one, and it's really good. What is the car that is better with an automatic? I actually had a really hard time with this one.
I
'cause
didn't
love
read through the
driving a
answers. I
manual.
wish I had, because I'd have something good for you.
I came up with a couple good ones. So this
What if
maybe,
it doesn't even offer a manual? That's disqualified. It
I
has to
don't
be
know.
offered with both, and you choose auto.
No, I think because like a lot of people are like, oh, manual swap that. That's the only thing wrong with it, right? But I don't. Sorry, I did a voice there. The one that after I thought about it for a long time, and it again goes back to my mechanic days, I think the 928 is better with an automatic. It's a big Mercedes. I know that's controversial, but it's like a big Mercedes-esque car. And like you don't actually really want to shift with that car. It's a big highway cruiser.
Who makes the auto in a 928 auto? Is that like a German, like a
I'm
ZF?
sure it's a ZF.
product?
I'm sure it's a ZF.
They're not psychopaths like the Ferrari 412 and put a GM automatic
No,
in it,
I don't
are
think
they?
so. Although the early ones are a 3-speed. The Ferraris had a GM.
It was a freaking turbo hydro, wasn't
That's
it?
right,
In a
yes.
Ferrari?
I'm almost positive
It's
that's correct.
unbelievable.
But like big cruiser cars like that are what I think of, right? Like, like probably again, a lot of people would tell me I'm crazy, but like, does the 500e really need the 124 500e of 6-speed? I don't know.
Do they even have it?
No.
Oh,
You'd have to swap it.
Yeah, I'm not swapping that.
Yeah.
Trying to think of something offered with a stick, but you'd rather take the auto.
Would you want your 300B with that weird French manual transmission?
No,
Right.
in no way.
Right.
Yeah, but that's a pretty deep cut. I mean, push button auto is incredible.
So
it's half
sick.
the reason you buy the car. But
Half the reason.
it is push button. It's
It
so cool.
It's so choice.
Man, I'm flailing a little bit. I'm going to pull up the story on the site and see what everybody else said.
There's good answers in there. Beck, has there anything come to your mind off the top of your head? Because both of you guys are like me. Like I daily drive a manual transmission. I love driving a manual transmission. But
Yeah,
I also don't want to be one of those guys who's like, that's the only
I mean,
possible
I'm like
solution.
big trucks. Like
Right.
I'm good with auto at this point, right? And I love swapping V8s into FJ60s, and I did that with a stick. And nowadays, I'd actually probably do an auto.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know. So like truck stuff, I'm totally good with auto, but
So that's basically what I was going to play off of. I can't think of a certain model where the auto is somehow intrinsically better than
Sportomatic.
the manual. Yeah.
Actually, I kind of like driving Sportos.
So the only one, in general, be anything that you're going to like drive up to the mountains can be so much better with an automatic, only because you will be stuck in traffic. And I have been in my Xterra, which is an automatic, behind my buddy who was in his WRX STI, which was a manual. And we got stuck into like 2 hours of traffic trying to get to Tahoe. And when we finally got to our destination, he couldn't walk. Like he was genuinely limping and was like struggling. So, but I was fine. I was perfectly comfortable and enjoying myself. So like, that's one of those where
Did that have to do with his coilovers and his full race buckets, or did
Probably
that
a
have to do with his
full
clutch pedal?
he seemed to, it was only his left leg that was struggling.
Okay.
So I don't know. I can't think of the exact model that would be the differentiator there. But I have heard that some people do love the Sportomatic, and I've had people try to
What?
convince me.
I
It's
was
kind of hard to
totally
drive. Well, see,
joking.
but you still have to shift that one. That's what's
Automatic
interesting about that one.
stick shift.
Yeah,
That's what they
auto
call
stick
it
is
in
the
in
Volkswagen
the
version, which
Volkswagen.
is a 3-speed. It's a 4-speed in the Porsche.
I've had people try to argue over the
My
phone with
Ghia
me
was an
that
auto
their-
stick originally.
Their reserve should be higher because it's Sportomatic. It's so rare.
Right. Yeah. We've heard arguments like that before. So one of the things, Randy, a lot of people kind of agreed with you in the post. Bench seat, although you could have a 3 on the tree and still have a bench seat, but a lot of people were like, one of the nice things about an automatic is you get a nice big bench and you can
yeah.
slide all the way across. Somebody mentioned first generation Broncos, like trucks in general. One of the funny ones was U-Haul. Like you don't want to manually shift your U-Haul
Yeah.
truck.
True.
And then Beck, a lot of the discussion turned towards like, what about all these modern, really good automatics like PDKs and stuff where
Sure.
people would say they're better.
Well,
I
that's
would
why the GT3 RSs are always just PDK because they want the latest technology.
Right.
Right. That's what they're arguing, is that it's faster and better on the back anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting thought experiment.
Gets people thinking. I was
Right.
thinking and struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's a few interesting options out there.
There sure are. All right, gents. Well, thanks for doing that. Any other parting shots at the end here?
I'm just surfing the BAT app as usual.
You're not mapping Route 66 right now?
I will be doing that later. I heard a rumor it's a 100-year anniversary of Route 66 next
Wow.
year.
How sick is that?
Wondering which town we need to go have a little brewski in along the
Yeah.
route.
Somewhere somewhere with a screen door on the front of it.
Slamming
Totally.
shut
Dunk,
in the
dunk, dunk.
dust.
You want it to creak when it opens? All that.
Somebody to walk in with spurs on,
Totally.
or what are you talking about? How
Totally.
Western are we going?
There's one gal in the back grilled up burgers.
BAT alumni rally that ends at one of those towns.
Hey, dude, if you have ideas for that, I want to hear them.
Only cars older than 1965.
Totally. Cable prints.
I was like, pre-interstate.
No. No overdrive.
But you mentioned,
no overdrive
was
units.
that
allowed.
serious where you said Howard said the like drum brake only rally?
He didn't do it, I don't think,
Okay.
but I think he may have aspired to do it.
I mean,
or
that's
maybe he
pretty
did it.
Pretty sick. Pretty sick.
Because you can easily do that with a year, right?
Totally.
I mean, when were the first? Was Porsche the first? No, they were late. Who was first disc brakes?
Jag.
Jag was
E-Type.
first disc brakes. That's right.
Yeah.
But
That's right.
not till the E-Type, like 61? No, they
late,
had it in
late,
50s.
because they had them on C-types. So the
Yeah,
late
yeah, yeah.
150s had them.
So all you do is cut it off at 1940 or
That's right.
something, and it's automatically a drum brake rally.
But
right?
I mean, 356s are drums all the way to 63,
Yeah.
and I mean, your Chrysler's drums. I mean, there's like a lot of interesting
you can
cars.
drive cool cars back then.
Right. Go
No Willwood. The logo for the event is a Willwood
Yeah,
with like a
totally.
slash through it.
totally.
No upgrade.
Could you
allowed.
get a drum brake 289 Mustang 4-speed, or did it all the 280?
Of course, any
Okay.
non-GT.
Yeah,
Only
okay.
disc brakes were a GT
Yeah, okay.
option.
So that's interesting.
Any non-GT 65 Mustang, it was like a big deal that the Shelbys had the
Yeah.
GT brakes, right? Because that was like brand new. But I mean, dude, a
C2.
64 Vet,
Yes,
a 64 Vet is 4-wheel drum.
Amazing.
So drum brake rally is a very good time.
All right.
That's a great name too. That's
It
a good
is.
brand name.
I have been thinking about it ever since Randy said it. It's sick.
Mhm.
All right, boys. What a treat. Thanks for doing this. And thanks to all of you for listening. Please feel free, as always, to send feedback to podcast@bringatrailer.com, and we will catch you next time.